A few months ago, in the hot Florida sun, Deb and I hand screeded these rocks with a homemade screed I made out of 2x4s and wire mesh. And the reason we did that was to get all the fine particles out of this river rock that we had bought so we can use these for French drains. We did a video on it, and Deb was protesting a lot because she thought it was a dumb idea. What'd you say? You thought the camera was off?
The camera's off. And I mumbled, this is so stupid.
But she did do something during that video that helped us out. She looked at the camera and said,
I think there's got to be a better way to do this.
and luckily for us, someone saw that video and got in touch with someone who makes a better way. So Andy over at Columbia Equipment Sales saw our video and he contacted us and said, I think I have a solution for your problem. And what they do is they make topsoil screeners for industry. So for construction industry, they have these big soil screeners with vibration motors and stuff like that. But he said he was getting a lot of requests from homesteaders and property owners that they wanted something on a smaller scale, something that they could use with their compact tractors, and there was just nothing like it on the market. So they designed this 56-inch screen that doesn't have any vibration motion, but what it does is it has this spring right here, and you take your loader bucket and you push down on this, and that shakes the material, and then the big material falls off the top, the small material goes through the center, and then you can come from this side and scoop it up. It's a brand new product in their lineup, and the model number is SLG 56. They also make a 48, but this one's 56 inches wide. It's got removable tires. It can be skidded around or it can be wheeled around. It has a hitch here that comes ready with the regular 2-inch ball hitch, and that's removable and actually stored over here in the side of the frame. And then once it's on site, you can actually tow it around with chains and move it wherever you need it. So once you get it on site, you remove the tires. You see a pin right there. If it's too wide to get in where you need it to go, you can take those tires and mount them here on the inside and make it much narrower. And additionally, these screens are removable. So this is like a 4-inch by 1-inch screen, and he said this would be really good for separating topsoil from sticks. But we also have 2 other screens, and they're removed by taking out these bolts here on the top and these bolts here on the bottom. I think the specs say you can change it in 2 minutes or less. I'm sure it'll take me longer the first time at least. But we're going to leave this size screen on here because he said it's best for what we need to do right now. And that is we're going to put sticks and shredded debris from our forestry mulcher on here. And that will come off here as clean woody material. And then the other organic material like the decomposed wood and the soil and all the good stuff that we want to put in our garden will end up on that side. And then we can enrich our garden. It's a very well thought out design, and we used it for a couple minutes a few weeks ago, but today will be the true test run. So let's hook it up, get it in the woods, and start screening. It's a real easy tow. You can tow it with anything. We've towed it with the UTV, but using the 3-point hitch just makes it easier to drop it off and pick it up. So this is the first pile we're going to screen. What this is just a lot of debris that's been mulched up. It's got some pine needles in it, some pine bark, and a lot of dirt mixed in there, and just a whole bunch of good organic matter. But you can't take this and put it in the garden because there's just too many big pieces like this that we're gonna filter out with the screen. And I think one of the biggest things of using the screen is putting it in the most efficient location. So we got to set it up in a way that we have easy access with both the tractor and the excavator. So I think set it up here so the tractor can come in from that way and the excavator can drop things on the screen this way. That looks like a good location, so we'll go ahead and let it down. Now here's what I found about the hitch, is that although you can tow it with a UTV, it's a pretty heavy piece of machinery. Like I can lift it, but probably not good that I lift it. So that's why I use the tractor. And you can use it like this, but this isn't the way it's designed to use, where the back end is lifted up by the tires. So you actually have to take the tires off. But before we do that, let's show you how this hitch comes off, and we'll show you where it's stowed. Mentioned earlier, it's well engineered and well thought out. They've thought of everything and they include everything. So all the pins All this are included. You pull this out of that receiver hitch and it stores right here. So that way you don't bend it, run into it with your equipment, or otherwise damage this. And they made the stowage very secure, so you can pin it over on this side as well. Next thing we'll do is take the tires off, and this hook comes turned the other way, and that's so you can fasten this down on a trailer. So I took out these 4 bolts and turned the hook this way so I can use a chain to lift this up, and then I can take the tire off and stow it here. I mentioned to the guys at Columbia that I turned this hook around, and they said this thing is built pretty tough and that it's designed to be picked up just with the bucket. You could just put the bucket of your skid steer, excavator, or whatever up underneath the screen and lift it up rather than using this hook. But I just find this hook to be a lot handier. So you just pull it out, the whole wheel assembly, and then you just turn it like that. Do the same thing on this side, and then we're ready to screen. Now I'm just trying to figure out the best way to position it in between all these trees so that I can stay in one place and just do a whole bunch of work. All right, I think that'll be good to start. Once I get sticks piled up here, I might have to reposition the excavator. Most of that dirt is going to fall through the screen wherever you dump it. So if you dump it at the top, it's going to fall through there. So I'm going to get some dirt on the top of my bucket and behind it. I think a lot of it will go in the bucket, and that'll save me from having to scoop, and then I can take it out and just drive over to the garden, dump it on the garden, and come back. Now you could also do this with the grapple on a tractor. This just be easier with the excavator here in these tight quarters. Now I want to get dirt, but also some organic matter too, so I already put some on the hood of the tractor. A little too high there. And now you just bounce it, and you can do this from the back end where the tractor is, and just kind of tap that, and then it'll work the material down. As it works down, the little stuff is falling through. There's some moisture in this material, so it's going to take a little bit of manipulation to sift it. Yeah, this is much better to do it with the excavator because I can actually put it on different sides of the screen. With a tractor, you just have to dump it all in one place. And this is pretty tight material too because it's from the forestry mulcher, so there's a lot of like small material in here that's getting bound up and it's not letting that dirt go through. In a normal stick pile, there'll be a lot more dirt and a lot fewer small sticks like this. So the sticks coming off of here have a little bit of dirt on them. I can pick them back up with the excavator. I can just push the screen with the excavator, pick these up and run them again. And that's what I'll do. I want to get them really clean and get as much of this good organic matter out of here as I can. But you can see that there's so much of the dirt's already been removed just by dropping it on the screen once. Now in a construction model, this would have some sort of vibration motor on it, and it would be shaking, and that would help move this material down. But this is more for the compact tractor owner and the guy out there with a small business, maybe making compost or something. That's working pretty good. I got some nice organic material down in there. Got some clean sticks here. Just keep doing that. In just a few scoops, I've filled the tractor bucket, and I've also learned a little bit more about this screen along the way. The outer layer of this pile is kind of wet from some recent rains, but when I came over here and got into this dry stuff, it sifted a lot better. And that kind of goes without saying, but it was sticking a lot on the screen until I got into this dry stuff. I was dropping it at the top here, like you see here, and kind of opening the thumb and thinking the debris would hit the screen, the fine stuff would go through and just kind of work its way off the screen. But because it was a little bit damp, it was clumping up a lot, and I knew that you have to bounce the screen a little bit to shake off the debris, the sticks or whatever, the heavy stuff, but I wasn't bouncing it hard enough. It's got this C type of spring on it and this bumper stop right here. And what you're supposed to do is when you come over from the back with a compact tractor and a bucket, dump your stuff here and kind of tap this until the stuff works its way down. Now, a lot of people are going to screen dirt for rocks. This stuff here is kind of unique because a lot of that dirt is bound in with all the fine roots and sticks and everything in there and pine straw. So it's a little bit harder to separate. But I was coming up here doing a little bit of work with my hand and then trying to take the excavator bucket and kind of scrape it back and forth. And this can handle it. This is a really tough screen. All this is very well built, thick steel and also gusseted with some angle bracing and everything. But it wasn't until I started taking the excavator bucket and really slamming it on this, opening that spring up and letting it snap back. And you do that like 3 times in a row and it'll completely clean the screen. So that's the way it's designed to be used. I thought it was a little too aggressive in the beginning, but it works well when you do that. I've got quite a bit of spoils here that still have some dirt in it, so I'll run it again. But let me back the tractor up and I'll show you how much dirt that we got out of just these, I don't know, 5 or 6 buckets. That's a decent bucket load of dirt. And I want to be careful where I put my hands because there's so many ants in here. You can just see all of the fine particles, the dirt, all the organic matter with the little sticks. But all that will do nothing but help improve our soil in our garden because our soil here is so sandy. The more organic matter we put in it, the better it will hold moisture, the better it will hold nutrients, and it'll just grow things better. So I like the idea of putting the tractor bucket in there rather than coming in and scooping it because all that there is sifted or screened, and this is the bigger particles that fell off, but there's nothing to separate those 2 piles. So if I were to pull this screen that way, that pile would fall over into this sifted stuff. So what I'm going to do is take the screen itself and push it that way and kind of separate those 2 piles, and that'll keep this pile more pure of the clean screen stuff that I'm looking for. It's almost like the potting soil that you buy, well, except we got a lot of ants in ours. Look at that nice clean soil with a lot of organic matter in it. Getting that second bucket, scooping from this side worked really good. Now I'm just going to take the screen and push it against the bucket and then grab this stuff here, screen it again, and then that should be clean enough to go in like a burn pile or something or further decompose somewhere else on the property. I think the best thing to do now is to push the screen off to the side with the excavator and then all of these clean sticks push in a pile. And that's what Andy told me about this thing, is that it's built to be pushed around by equipment, because I was talking about those hooks and everything and how I turned them around, and he said it's designed to be pushed around. It's built tough. So now these sticks here have been screeded twice. Got 2.5 buckets of dirt out of them. So I'll just push them to the side. And what I might do with them is just push them off to the corner over here and then come back in a couple years when they've decomposed some more and there'll be organic matter and soil again, or back to that. Some of this soil underneath this pile I want to get, so I'm going to go ahead and push it up a little bit with the excavator so that I can grab it with the debris. That's some real rich soil down there. That's been decomposing for 5 years there under this pile. Got some worms in it, and hopefully that sifts out nicely so we can get that in the garden. But it's just so satisfying to be able to take all this that was thickly wooded and clear it out and turn it into something useful like dirt for our garden, or soil for our garden, I guess. So this time I put the tractor bucket deeper in there, and that way I'll catch the end of the screening, and then when I back out I can back blade and kind of pull the 2 piles apart. As you can tell, I'm experimenting. This is the first full day using the screen. I got the bucket right tight against the screen, and when I pull it backwards, I'll back blade that little hill right there with it. That came out perfect. The stick stayed up there. That's where the bucket was, and I got some extra dirt right here. I actually looked into building like a wooden screed by myself, you know, with some different wire and wood, and maybe even get someone to weld a metal frame for me, but it wouldn't have been this portable. It wouldn't have had the spring on it. It just wouldn't have worked as well, and probably would have cost about the same. So this thing is working out really well. It was designed so it could be used anywhere in a remote site, and adding a motor, a hydraulic motor or something on it would just add to the cost of it, and it also would add to the cost of operation. So once you understand it and get it down, it's just a really easy to use piece of equipment, and it's just satisfying. There's not a lot of risk with it. And the more violently you hit it, the further towards me it throws the sticks. I've been working a lot off camera, and the pile probably doesn't look any smaller, but there's a reason for that. I've hauled off at least 6 or 8 buckets in the tractor, and the first set of sticks that I cleaned, I re-cleaned them and got another couple buckets of dirt, and then I took the tractor and the blade on the excavator and just started pushing up here and trying to find the sand layer that's the original layer of the land. And anything above that is decomposed leaves and pine needles and sticks and these pine tree trunks as they break down. There's some little bit of one left there. And there was at least 18 inches of dirt under the pile. So once I got a big pile of sticks here, they still had some dirt in them, and I just took the tractor and pushed everything up into a big pile. And once I got that big pile of sticks clean, I put it over here, and I realized I could get them even cleaner. So I just took the tractor, pushed everything up into a big pile, and just over time and practice, I guess, I've just learned how to use the screen better, and I can do a better job and reduce this pile basically to nothing. It's amazing to me how much dirt is mixed with these sticks. I thought maybe I'd get 4 or 5 bucket loads of dirt. I'm at 6 or 8 already, and there's probably 10 more bucket loads of dirt in this pile. But I'll check back in at the end when I'm done and show you what we're left with. I'm thinking it's not going to be any more than a 4-foot by 4-foot square of clean sticks. Well, I've been working steady, and I've got that pile of sticks and probably 6 or 8 more loads of dirt. You can see the dirt pile is still pretty tall, but we're making progress. But progress has ended for today, and let me show you why. I thought I saw a puff of dust, and I was like, why would I see a puff of dust? Well, it wasn't a puff of dust. It was a puff of hydraulic fluid. So right there is the hydraulic line that makes the front blade go up and down. And when I was lifting the blade or putting it down, I forget which one, that's when I was seeing that puff of dust, and it was a puff of hydraulic fluid. And so now I'm shut down there. I can't do anything more. Luckily, I can move the machine. So I can put the machine away and put a drip pan under it. Both of the lines on either side of that front cylinder are external. So I just need to get maybe a 11/16 crow's foot, take off both those lines. I'll just replace both of them because they flex a lot going up and down. I could continue to work with the tractor, but I've been doing this for about 6 hours, and the excavator is the right tool for the job. But be sure to check out Columbia Equipment Sales and their Decite SLG 56 screen. This thing's been doing a great job for me today. I love it. It's perfect for what we do out here at Piney Grove. And I've got another pile that's 10 times the size of this that'll probably take me over a week to turn into topsoil or soil that I can use around the property. And before I leave, I'll go ahead and show you how much I put on the garden. That is probably 18 tractor buckets of dirt that I got from that stick pile over there. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video, folks. We sure appreciate you watching. Until next time, remember, life's short, tractor hard.